The Pentagon has confirmed that Iran fired at least a dozen rockets at two Iraqi military bases that host U.S. troops. That's in retaliation for the assassination of Iranian military commander Qasem Soleimani last week. Let's now get the latest and hear about some reaction from the United States, with the U.S. President Donald Trump expected to address the media about this attack. Danielle Robertson is our correspondent in Los Angeles. That's in L.A. Danielle, good evening your time, and it's good morning here in South Africa. We've seen the tweet by Donald Trump saying all is well and damage is being assessed, no reports of casualties, and that he'll update the country and the world later on sometime today about any further information. In the meantime, we've also heard from Tehran saying that they don't want an escalation of this, but from far it looks like the tension there is seemingly getting worse.
Yeah, that's right. So Iran has fired more than 20 missiles on two American bases, as you mentioned, in Iraq. One was in the north and one was at a major airbase at Al-Assad that held US American military personnel. And this, of course, Iran says, was for fierce revenge of the killing of Iranian General Qasem Soleimani. Now, so far, US and Iraqi officials have said that there is no casualties reported at these bases. But, of course, assessments are still underway on the ground. So far, no casualties or US casualties have been reported. Now, President Trump did send a tweet saying that all is good. And also in that tweet, he reiterated the fact that the US has some of the most powerful military in the world. And that's all we've heard from the White House so far. Apart from that, there has been silence. President Trump has met with the Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, and he is expected to make a statement later on today. And I guess the world now is waiting for that response from President Trump. We do know that Trump has previously said that if Iran did decide to retaliate or attack any United States assets in the region, that he would then, of course, take action. What that action is going to be is still very much unknown. We do know that the Iranian Foreign Ministry has said that they do not want a war, but they do want to defend themselves. So that may be a little bit of an indication of a relaxation of the tensions. But so far, these tensions between Iran and the United States are really starting to escalate, and the ball now is really in President Trump's court. This, of course, could be one of the biggest decisions of his presidency of what he does next.
What kind of opposition could he face at home if he decided to continue in this conflict with Iran?
Yeah, he is facing this big decision, and of course the tensions between Iran and the United States have been ongoing for a while now. The consequences of this are massive, not just on the United States scale and the Iranian scale, but on a global scale. And these tensions have been ongoing for such a long time, and it all began really with the sanctions. The United States have put on 1,000 or so, more than 1,000 sanctions on Iran, and that is really being felt by the people on the ground and the families there. And Iran have continuously said that they want to be respected as a country. They don't want to have all these sanctions on them. They'd rather, they want to come to a position where they can communicate and come to sort of an agreement on these things. They don't want all these sanctions to be put on them. And of course, the nuclear deal has been a major issue for both these countries for some time. It's really hard to tell where Trump is going to go with this. There have been reports, if he decides to retaliate back once again, there could be an all-out war. So there are some major implications that are underway. We will find out soon when the White House is expected to make a statement later today. It is very early in the morning in Washington, D.C., so we'll see what happens. Meetings are going on right now, as I said, with Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and Trump.
Yeah, Daniel, very brief. Are you able to give us a sense of how the American public is responding to this?
Yeah, I think overall, particularly the Americans in, Los Angeles in particular, in Tehran, where a lot of the Iranian and Iraqi citizens have made a new life here in the United States. Some people who have moved from places like Tehran into the United States have made a new home. A lot of the people here, those people, civilians who sort of have this dual identity, are really torn because they still have family in places like Tehran, but they've made a new home here in the United States and they've really welcomed them here. So it's situations like this that really make it difficult for those kind of people. And a lot of the people on the ground are also very too scared to even say how they feel or what they are really thinking, because there is this sort of era that the regime is looking over them even though they're still living in the United States. But overall, the American population, nobody wants a war. Nobody wants this to be a full-blown escalation into a war, and I think that is something that both sides are really thinking at this stage, between Iran and the United States. I feel like that's the overall cloud of opinion at this stage, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens. As I mentioned, the citizens here who have that dual identity very much torn. American citizens don't want an all-out war. They would like there to be peace, and they don't want this to escalate any further.
Thank you very much, Danielle Robertson, our correspondent in Los Angeles.